For over 60 years, he's been the smiling, seemingly ageless face of British pop music, a cultural icon who was, for all intents and purposes, the UK's Peter Pan, Sir Cliff Richard. Just hearing the name conjures images of summer holidays, living dolls, and joyful congratulations. He's a knight of the realm, a genuine national treasure who has sold more records than almost any other British solo artist in history. This is the man who brought rock and roll to the UK, and then proceeded to shape its pop scene for decade after decade. But what happens when the cheering stops? What's life like when the screaming crowds of yesterday are replaced by the silence of an empty mansion? At 84 years old, the picture often painted is one of quiet retreat. A man who outlived his peers, winding down his days in solitary reflection, maybe even tinged with the sadness of a life lived so publicly, yet in many ways, so alone. The papers might suggest he's slowing down, that the fire is dimming. But that isn't the whole story. It's not even close. When you picture Cliff Richard at 84, what do you see? A quiet grandfather of pop, living out his days in lonely reflection? That's the story most of us have been led to believe. The truth, however, is shocking. This isn't a story about a star fading away. It's the story of a financial empire, estimated to be worth as much as $100 million, a life of unbelievable luxury, and a man who simply refuses to be forgotten. What you're about to see is how Cliff Richard really lives, and it is anything but sad. Behind that gentle image lies a tale of staggering wealth, unimaginable heartache, and an iron will that has seen him through it all. This is the real story of Cliff Richard at 84. Let's start with a number that's hard to wrap your head around: $100 million. As of 2025, that's the estimated net worth of Sir Cliff Richard. It's a fortune that puts him in the highest tier of music royalty, a testament not just to a successful career, but to an empire he's been building for over half a century. So, how did the boy-born Harry Roger Webb in Lucknow, India, build such a massive fortune, and more importantly, how does he keep it growing today? The foundation of it all, of course, is the music. We're talking about a sales record that is simply staggering, with an estimated 250 million records sold worldwide. To put that in perspective, he's consistently ranked among the top-selling singles artists in the history of the United Kingdom, rubbing shoulders with Elvis Presley and the Beatles in terms of UK chart success. He's a true titan of the charts. But this isn't just about a few hits from a bygone era. Cliff's real genius was his chameleon-like ability to adapt and stay relevant. He is the only artist in history to have a #1 single in the UK across 5 consecutive decades. From the rock and roll rebellion of Move It in the 50s to the cheerful Summer Holiday in the 60s, the slick pop of We Don't Talk Anymore in the 70s, the Christmas classic Mistletoe and Wine in the 80s, and Savior's Day in the 90s, he never stopped being a household name. That incredible longevity is the engine of his fortune. Think of the royalties. Every time one of those classic hits gets played on the radio, streamed online, or used in a movie, the cash register rings. His Christmas songs alone are perennial moneymakers, generating fresh income every single year. This isn't past glory. It's a living, breathing financial machine. Then there's the touring. For 60 years, Cliff Richard has been an incredible live performer, selling out arenas all over the world. These weren't small gigs. They were major productions, generating millions in ticket sales and merchandise. His ability to consistently fill large venues, even in his 80s, speaks to a fan base that is as loyal as it is huge. Beyond the music, Cliff was a shrewd businessman. Long before it was common, he understood the power of his own brand. He also made incredibly smart investments, particularly in real estate, turning his music profits into tangible, appreciating assets. He's also a best-selling author, penning autobiographies and even cookbooks. When you add up the relentless record sales, constant touring, smart investments, and a powerful personal brand, that $100 million figure starts to make perfect sense. This isn't the story of a fading star. Financially, Sir Cliff has never been more secure. He's not just a singer, he's the CEO of his own global corporation. A fortune like that isn't just a number in a bank account, it's a lifestyle. And you can see it in Sir Cliff's breathtaking real estate portfolio. For decades, he has collected incredible homes, creating a global empire of luxury properties from the Caribbean to the English countryside and even New York City. These aren't just houses, they are palatial estates, sanctuaries of privacy and opulence. Let's start in paradise. For many years, Cliff's primary getaway was a jaw-dropping mansion in Barbados called Coral Sundown. Perched on a 2.6-acre property in the exclusive Sugar Hill estate, it offered panoramic views of the Caribbean Sea from every room. The villa had 6 enormous bedroom suites, a media room, a private bar, a massive swimming pool, and its own tennis courts. He eventually sold this piece of paradise for a staggering £6.8 million, but it stands as a monument to his property-owning prowess. Then there was his European dream, a magnificent vineyard in the Algarve region of Portugal, known as Quinta do Moinho. This was a true passion project. For decades, Cliff wasn't just a pop star. He was a winemaker, producing his own brand of wine called Vida Nova, or New Life. The sprawling estate, which he also eventually sold, was another symbol of a life lived far beyond the stage. Of course, his heart has always been in the UK. He's owned a series of grand homes, and his current UK base is reportedly another impressive mansion in Surrey, a county known for wealth and privacy. These English estates are symbols of his status as British entertainment royalty, and in a move that surprised many, he also bought property in the United States, reportedly a stunning penthouse in New York City. It's been suggested that this decision was driven by a desire for anonymity. After the turmoil of recent years, the freedom to walk the streets of a bustling city where he isn't instantly recognized held a powerful appeal. It's a place where he can just be Harry Webb again. But this incredible portfolio raises a question. What's it like rattling around in these vast, opulent spaces? Cliff himself has said he dislikes living alone. And here, one can picture the quiet halls, the empty chairs, and the pools shimmering under the sun with no one in them. There's an irony in owning so much space, yet potentially feeling a sense of solitude. The homes are a symbol of his immense success, but they also add a layer of deep complexity to the story of how he lives now. So we have the fortune and the houses. But what about the man himself? While the public perception might be of a solitary figure, the reality is a life rich with deep friendships, unwavering faith, and a resilience forged in fire. For decades, the media has been obsessed with his status as a lifelong bachelor. He came close to marriage twice in his younger years, but ultimately chose a different path, prioritizing his career and his commitment to his family. This decision led to endless speculation, which he has had to endure for most of his life, once stating with frustration, "What business is it of anyone else's?" To say he is alone, however, is simply wrong. For many years, his most important relationship has been with John McAlin, a former priest he met in 2001. Cliff describes Macklin as his companion and a blessing. Macklin eventually left the priesthood and became a manager of Cliff's properties and his constant companion. "He has become a companion, which is great because I don't like living alone, even now," Cliff wrote in his autobiography. Their deep friendship provides crucial stability and support. Beyond that, his life is filled with long-standing relationships with friends like broadcaster Gloria Hunniford. These are not fleeting celebrity acquaintances. They are deep, enduring bonds. But perhaps the most significant force in his life has been his Christian faith. In 1966, at the peak of his fame, he announced he'd become a Christian. Many thought it would kill his career. Instead, it became his foundation. It gave him a moral compass and a clean-cut image in an industry that expected the opposite. It was this faith that would guide him through the darkest period of his life. That darkness fell in August 2014. His home was raided by police as part of a historical sexual assault allegation, an event broadcast live on the BBC. For 2 years, he lived in what he described as a living hell. The man with a spotless reputation was at the center of a horrifying media storm. He was never arrested and never charged. In 2016, he was completely exonerated. The damage, however, was done. He later successfully sued the BBC and South Yorkshire police for the profound violation of his privacy, but no amount of money could erase the trauma. He said his faith became stronger than ever during this period, wondering how he could have survived without it. The ordeal tested his spirit, but it did not break it. It revealed a resilience few knew he possessed. This strength is also channeled into his extensive charity work with organizations like Tear Fund and Alzheimer's Research UK. So, is his life quiet? In some ways, yes. Is it lonely? With such deep and abiding friendships, that seems unlikely. But is it sad? Absolutely not. It is a life of profound conviction and unshakable resilience. With a massive fortune and luxury, homes, nobody would blame Sir Cliff Richard for putting his feet up. He's more than earned a quiet retirement. The word retires, however, doesn't seem to be in his vocabulary. The very idea of fading away seems alien to him. The most powerful evidence of this is his relentless drive to perform. In a move that would exhaust artists half his age, Sir Cliff announced a major 2025 tour, fittingly titled Can't Stop Me Now. This isn't just a few dates. It's a global tour to celebrate his 85th birthday, with shows across Australia, New Zealand, and the UK. He'll be playing major venues like London's Royal Albert Hall. These are major arena performances, proving his power to draw massive crowds is as strong as ever. His work in the studio also continues. In 2020, his album Music, the Air That I Breathe hit number 3 in the UK charts, making him the first artist ever to have a top 5 album in 8 consecutive decades. In 2022, he released another successful Christmas album, and in 2023 he released Cliff with Strings, reimagining his hits with a full orchestra. This isn't an artist winding down, it's a man who is still creatively on fire. This refusal to become a nostalgia act is key to understanding him. He is fiercely protective of a legacy that's almost unmatched. Before the Beatles or the Rolling Stones, there was Cliff. His first hit, Move It, is widely seen as the first great British rock and roll song. He holds a record of 14 #1 UK singles and was the first pop star to be knighted by the Queen in 1995 for his services to music and charity. This isn't just a pop star, this is a cultural institution. The image of a sad, lonely figure simply dissolves in the face of this reality. What we see instead is a man still at the top of his game, still pushing himself, and still connecting with millions. He is a living legend who refuses to live in the past. The stage is his home, the music is his lifeblood, and the roar of the crowd is a sound he's not ready to give up. The story of Cliff Richard is one of incredible twists, turns, and triumphs. For more stories that reveal the hidden lives of music's biggest legends, make sure you subscribe and ring that notification bell. You won't want to miss who we uncover next. So is Cliff Richard's life at 84 a sad, lonely affair? To label his life sad is to miss the entire point of the man. Has he faced profound sadness? Without question. The loss of friends, the trauma of false accusations on a global stage, these are sorrows that would crush most people. Does he lead a quieter, more private life now? Absolutely, and he's earned that right. But his life today is defined not by sadness, but by triumph. It's a life of staggering wealth, built on timeless talent and smart decisions. It's a life anchored by unwavering faith and deep friendships that saw him through the darkest of times. And most importantly, it's a life of continued purpose. He isn't looking backwards. He's an artist, still planning tours, still making music, and still connecting with the fans who've been with him on this incredible journey. The story of Cliff. Richard at 84 isn't one of loneliness. It's one of resilience. It's not a tale of retreat, but one of refusal. A refusal to be broken, to be silenced, and to ever fade away.